Welcome to my madness, ladies and gentlemen. Going to be taking a quick little overview and review of this guy right here. This is the new DC Direct by Mcfarlane, Killer Croc and Baby Doll. I was not a fan, as I've mentioned in previous videos, of the first wave of these kind of DC Direct re-releases that came out. I hated all the cell shading on them. Didn't pick any of that first wave up. This second wave, I think they look pretty damn good because they just look like good classic representations of the characters from the animated series without that stupid cell shading that, cell shading when done right on an action figure can look pretty good. The problem is almost nobody does it right, and I think Mcfarlane does it worse than everybody else. In the few instances I have seen of them trying to do cell shading, it just looks awful. I mean, it just absolutely looks awful. So to get these figures without all the cell shading, definitely the way to go. I think Mcfarlane needs to stick to this and not go back to cell shading if they're going to keep doing these DC Direct re-releases, because as they are, I absolutely love them. Now, I'm going to go over the accessories here real quick before we jump too far into this. So, Killer Croc does come with a couple extra sets of hands. Baby Doll comes with her baby bottle. We do get a fully cooked, complete chicken there. And then I wanted to give you guys a up-close look at Baby Doll herself, because that's one thing about this figure, or this set, I should say, that's a little bit disappointing in that she's just not a great figure. It's very difficult for her to stand up. But in addition to that, we also do get the stand, which is, I think, very necessary for these figures because of the fact that they are so top-heavy with smaller feet. Now, Killer Croc, I think, is better than, let's say, the Two-Face that I've already done a review on, which he's back there. You can't really see him. He definitely requires that stand more so than Killer Croc does, because Killer Croc's got larger feet, so it's a little bit easier for him to stand up without a stand. But these are still, I think, really good stands that, they kind of move up and down on the pole here. And then you do have this kind of spring-loaded action here, so if you want to clip it to a leg or to a torso or whatever you want to do, they work really well. And then also, as you get with this entire wave, we do get kind of a reproduction of an animated cell, which looks really cool. So we got Killer Croc and Baby Doll there. And these are great. I like these actually a lot. You've got this little tab you bend out so you can stand up. A little bit of information about the animation cell right there. And these are pretty cool. I like them. They're great for display purposes. I think they did a good job with these. Much better than the little trading cards Mcfarlane usually gives away, that I just throw those things away because I hate those things. I don't even take them out of the package. I just throw the whole box away. But anyway, let's take a look at Baby Doll here real quick first, because I think it's a good-looking figure. I mean, she looks great. The problem is she does have some articulation here. Her legs are articulated, and then her arms have just a little bit of swivel there. Then, of course, her head. But the way she's made, and look, I get it, would have been pretty hard to do it any other way. Is just she's so top-heavy because of her head and just with the animation style and the braids and everything, that she's very, very difficult, there we go, to get her to stand up. But it's a great little figure. It's a nice add-on. I'm glad they put it in there. It just, especially when she has no peg holes in the bottom of her feet and she's too small to be held up with this, it's going to be kind of difficult to get her to stand up. Kind of reminds me of the Marvel Legends Spider-Ham figures that come in with Spider-Gwen that are just impossible to get to stay standing up on your shelf. They're crazy. As far as the Killer Croc himself, I think he looks great. Looks just like you remember him from the animated series. Big, bulky, huge. You can see we do have the larger feet, so it's going to get him to stand up better. The only thing I don't like about this figure is his legs are kind of pre-posed. So you don't have a lot of options with how to get him to stand up unless you're going to put him on a stand, just because he kind of has to be in a certain position to balance that bulky upper body. As far as the overall articulation goes, it's pretty much DC-UC articulation, which nothing wrong with that. I love DC-UC, big fan. So you've got the standard DC-UC hips. Now there's no bicep swivels and thigh swivels here, as you can see. So we did lose that. We do got the ball joint arms, and you've got that kind of DCUC style, if you can get them there. Articulation in the arms. His arms don't come up that much, but you do have that that rotation there. And then he actually does have an ab crunch there, so you can kind of get him hunched over if you want, or for some reason if you want him hunched back. Not a lot of movement there, but a little bit of movement. He does have, you know, back and forth swivel, all that kind of stuff there in the feet. So not too bad. Pretty standard stuff. Look, it's DC Direct, right? So this is an old articulation style from, you know, more than 10 years ago now at this point, back when I believe Mattel were the ones doing the DC Direct stuff, which of course they pulled their inspiration from doing the DCUC stuff when they were making these figures, and these are just re-releases, so it's the same thing. You know, kind of give you an idea of where he's going to stack up if you put him with some DCUC stuff. You can see, I think he works great. He's big enough that he looks fantastic. If you wanted to put him with Mcfarlane, not so much. He's a little bit small for Killer Croc. I mean, technically he is a 7-inch scale figure, but Killer Croc's not supposed to be the same height as Batman, so it doesn't really work for that there. Then, of course, if you wanted to put him with some other 6-inch scale stuff, like this SH Figuarts Joker that we have there, works really good there. And then, of course, we've got the Two-Face that I also picked up from this wave. That this is what he is definitely supposed to look like, and I think that looks great. So, I mean, look, basically what it comes down to is if you're a fan of the animation style, if you're a fan of the animated series that were out back in the 90s, like, this is a must-have. You know, these things are 25 bucks, give or take, which is a great price, entry-level price for action figures nowadays, and these are great representations of these characters. However, if you have the original DC Direct stuff, there's no reason to get this stuff. It's the same thing all over again. That's all it is. There's no reason to pick these up again. There's nothing new or different about them. There's no new articulation. The paint schemes, while slightly different from the original figures I've seen, are not anything that would make you want to run out and get these themselves. So if you've got the original line of these DC Direct figures, there's not really anything that you need to do. You can just leave these sitting on the shelf. But for somebody like me that didn't have the originals, this is great. I'm going to end up putting together my own little kind of Batman animated display together with these figures, and I am definitely glad that they went away from the cell shading, because I wanted to pick up that first wave. I really, really did. They just didn't look good. That cell shading just ruined the whole wave for me, and I was very disappointed in that. So hopefully they've moved away from that, and the rest of the figures we get, and hopefully we keep getting more and more figures. We'll stick with what we have here and what we have with the Two-Face, and just leave it alone. Stop the cell shading there, Mcfarlane, please. But that is pretty much it, guys. You know, it's a great figure. I think it's worth it. It's got some quirks to it because it is based off of older figures, but they're great if you don't have them. Definitely worth it. And thank you guys for watching. I always appreciate it. And always remember to enjoy your collection.